Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, or good morning, depending on when you are watching or listening to this. Welcome to Talking to Myself, episode 14, the big 14. You got that right. My name is Dante Toro, just like the previous 13 episodes. Hello, everybody. How are we? I hope everyone's having a good Monday so far. A little bit of a late episode release this week. I do apologize for that if you do enjoy watching it earlier in the day on Mondays, but it's out now. We're here. Hopefully everyone had a good past week. Honestly, this episode is really just going to be a Q&A. I mentioned last week how I wanted to start asking the question or putting in the community tab beforehand saying if you have any questions, throw anything you want in there. That might be a better way to get more comments, more questions that we could throw in to this podcast instead of like looking for comments from last week's video and whatnot. So I have a good amount of comments and questions actually to go over. So I'm excited to do that. Most of them are wrestling related, but there are some other ones that I'm excited to answer as well. Besides that, though, we have a few things that I want to get in and talk about. Obviously, the big elephant in the room, there are a few questions about it, and I have one that I will answer, but I will be saving it mostly for the Stash Club Wrestling podcast we film tomorrow. John Cena turned heel for the first time in 20 years, over 20 years. It's not the first time he's ever been a bad guy. He was a bad guy back when he was a young rapper, Dr. Thugonomics, Word Life, all this and that. But we've never seen John Cena, Super Cena, turn heel. In the great year of 2025, we finally got John Cena becoming a bad guy during his retirement tour. If you guys are not caught up with everything going on in the wrestling world, or if you just live under a rock, even if you aren't a wrestling fan, like this blew up on social media. So everyone heard of it. John Cena won the Elimination Chamber match, last eliminating CM Punk. Afterwards, there was this segment where we were anticipating The Rock and Cody Rhodes meeting face to face, and The Rock wanted Cody Rhodes' soul. He wanted everything from Cody. He wanted him to be his champion. So he wanted Cody to turn to the dark side, basically. Cody, not exaggerating, told The Rock, go fuck yourself on live PLE, on live TV. WWE didn't censor it. It was electric. It was amazing. The crowd was going nuts. John Cena was going nuts. He was pumping his fist. He was running around super excited, daps up Cody. Then he looks at The Rock, gives this like evil stare. The Rock slits his throat. They attack Cody Rhodes, officially making John Cena a bad guy, and he's siding with The Rock. So I live streamed it this past Saturday, and I thank you if you were in that live stream. Hopefully I can do more live streams moving forward. So if you miss it, we can, you'll be able to jump to the next one. But it was one of the most craziest segments I, as a wrestling fan, have ever seen personally. Probably the greatest heel turn of my lifetime. I can imagine this is what it was like when Hulk Hogan joined the NWO. I'm not saying it's better or worse, but I have a feeling it's on that level for like my generation. Like John Cena is my Hulk Hogan to what the past generation was, right? So it was, I was speechless. There was like 400 people in at one point, and I felt terrible because I couldn't talk. I was just so in awe of what I witnessed, and it was one of the craziest things I'd ever seen. I am so hyped for this John Cena heel run. Anything that you thought you'd expect from John Cena this year, you throw it out the window and we start from scratch, because I made a whole fantasy booking video out the door. Everything I said at this point, wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong. And it's going to continue to get worse and worse. We're going to look back on that a year from now and be like, I couldn't have booked a worse, not a worse, last year, but I couldn't have been any different. So I'm excited to see what they do with this. We've never seen a heel John Cena to this magnitude. So it's going to be fun. And I'm also looking forward to talking about it again. Stash Club Wrestling podcast coming out tomorrow. We'll get more in depth. And I'll probably do another video on this channel breaking it down, going more in depth on my personal opinions. But we'll talk about that more then. Let's talk about some movies. Sticking to wrestling, I did watch The Wrestler last night. I also watched, I actually watched a few wrestling things this week. 2 documentaries, one of them about Florida Championship Wrestling in WWE, basically NXT before NXT was NXT, before NXT was founded, just like a developmental brand. Super cool, just kind of, getting some insight back, background information, things you know before. I watched Andre the Giant, the HBO Max documentary. Did I talk about this? I don't think I talked about this. No, I think I saw it last Monday night. But Andre the Giant, very insightful. I didn't know too much about Andre the Giant, admittedly. Obviously, I knew he was a giant. He was a one-of-a-kind human spectacle, but kind of seeing how he lived and what he went through and stuff, it was very, very eye-opening, and you learned a lot. Didn't know he had a daughter. That was probably the craziest thing that I found out. And then last night, I watched The Wrestler with, I want to make sure I get this name right, Mickey Rourke. I fucked up. We did a quiz on Stash Club not too long ago, and I made a reference. I thought we were talking, I forget, it was like an AI thing, whatever it was, and I put down this movie in Mickey Rourke. Instead, I wrote Ricky Mork. Got the two first letters mixed up. It was embarrassing. And then when I was talking to Taylor last night about what I was going to watch, I also said Ricky Mork again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Third time, there's going to be some problems. I can't keep calling him Ricky. But The Wrestler, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It has an average rating of 4.1 on Letterboxd. If you're not following me there, follow me, dtoro11. It didn't hit as much as I'd like it to. It has a high rating. I think I gave it a 3.5. I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I would. I thought there were some parts where it was not lazy, but there were just some things they were kind of jumping around, doing things that not that it didn't make sense, but there wasn't a lot of like background info, more information about it. They didn't really do much with the daughter, and I feel like that a big part of the story was how he doesn't have a good relationship with her and he's trying to build it back up. I feel like they could have done more there. His relationship with the stripper, I feel like I was honestly, how long was it? It was less than 2 hours. If it was maybe another 15, 20 minutes and you added a few things, to me, I think that could have made all the difference. I understand why people like it more than I do. To me, it just didn't fully hit. I do think Mickey Rourke exemplified what wrestling is as far as being, it's very much real. It's scripted, it's this and that, it takes two to tango, you and your partner know the outcome, but just kind of the toll it takes on your body and how it can affect your life and, the longevity of your lifespan and, how all different things. So I thought it was a really good executed movie, kind of getting more, I don't know, a little bit more peek behind the curtain of how grueling wrestling can be, even though this wasn't like a documentary or based off a real story. I don't think it was. Was it based off a real story? Is it based off a true story? I'm not 100%. If it is, that's on me. I could be wrong, but yeah, I did enjoy it, but definitely I was expecting more out of it. Definitely was expecting more. And as a kid, like I remember at WrestleMania 25, Mickey Rourke and Chris Jericho having a feud that led to Chris fighting legends and Hall of Famers and stuff. And I can't believe that this movie led to that and Mickey punching Chris Jericho in the face at WrestleMania. Crazy world of wrestling. It really is one of a kind. There's nothing like it. Also, I thought the whole time, I felt like my eyes were closed. Mickey and Dave Bautista had very similar like tones of like talking, like kind of slower, deeper voice. I felt like Dave Bautista, if they do a movie like this, like a wrestler type movie, not saying they have to do like a sequel to this or like copy and paste this, I think Bautista would be awesome in a role like that. I kept thinking that the whole time. But yeah, that's what we watched. We also, I don't know, I think I talked about, me and Taylor watched the second Jurassic World. I don't know if we talked about it. I talked about it on the podcast last week. If I did, I did. If not, I would have mentioned that. I would have said that it was not nearly as good as the first one. So we're going to keep watching the rest of them. I'm excited to kind of finish up that movie series. But yeah, those are the movies I have watched this past week. Let me know in the comments if you watched any movies, TV shows that you're into right now. If you want to put me on to something, put it in the comments. but I'm going to now go over your comments. I put out the Q&A question on my YouTube community tab, so if you want to be in on the next podcast Q&A, make sure to see that, check that out, keep your eyes peeled for that so I can look for your comments next week. I have about 10 or so here, so let's jump into it. First one I have from Cameron. Are you going to be watching the final seasons of Stranger Things and You this year? The final season of You comes out next month, a bunch of smiley faces. I have never seen You before. Admittedly, TV shows is where I lack. I wish I could say I've watched this show, that, this and that, whatever. But I definitely am more of a movie guy than TV guy. Back in high school and even early college, I probably would consider myself more of a TV, like up to that point, I've seen a good amount of shows. I just haven't watched a lot of shows over the years. So I've missed out, or I haven't seen a lot of shows that have come out over the years, or maybe I've seen a season, didn't finish the rest of this show. I will say Letterboxd is a big motivator for me to watch movies. I know there's other apps. Serialized is a big one, the big TV show app that I do use from time to time. Once Letterboxd adds TV shows, and I know it sounds weird because it's like, oh, well, you have the other one, so why do you need to wait for Letterboxd? Once they open up their TV portion of their app, I'm going to be watching so many more shows. I like it when everything is in one place. Like it's with like Spotify, Apple Music, or like mixtapes, where like on Spotify, you can get your mixtapes on there and stuff, but it's kind of local files. It's kind of confusing. I would always have my mixtapes separated from, my Spotify and stuff. So I would always, like when J. Cole added his mixtapes to streaming, it's like I was so happy because now it's all on Spotify. And yes, I already had them downloaded and would listen to them on my Apple Music app or whatever it may be, but it all being in one place just hits so much different for me. I don't know what it is, but once Letterboxd has their TV, once they open up their own TV app or separate app or within the app, I'm going to be watching a lot more TV shows. I know it's kind of long-winded just to say that I've never seen You, but that is a show that I've heard is very popular, and maybe one day we'll watch. Stranger Things, I do plan on watching the final season of that. The first season came out my freshman year of college, which is insane. And I admittedly am going to go back and rewatch every season. Maybe I'll skip the third one because it was awful. But I'm going to go and rewatch all the older seasons to kind of catch up and refresh my memory, because it's bullshit that it's not just Stranger Things, it's other shows too, that we have to wait so long in between seasons. It's also kind of like why I like waiting for full shows to be done so I can just watch it from start to finish and not have to wait for a new season, a new episode. I do like waiting like new episodes every week or something. That feeling is cool, but like waiting 2 years, 3 years in between of season 4 of Stranger Things and the last one is ridiculous. Like I know there's a lot that goes into it. It's a big story being told. Each episode's going to be like a movie, I heard. So I get it, but it sucks that I have to go and rewatch things. But I plan on it. Again, might skip the third season because it was absolutely atrocious. But I am a fan of Stranger Things. I loved the first season, watching it in college. I think I watched it all in one weekend, to be honest with you, when I was sick or something like that, and I was glued. Loved it. I can't wait for the final season to come out. Next question from Good Morning. My name is Adam. Well, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, Adam. Have you ever experienced a more pivotal moment in any form of media than you did watching the Elimination Chamber? Kind of funny how you're considering, like, you're thinking the Elimination Chamber, John Cena's heel turn is like the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. You're right. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. Have I experienced something more pivotal? I mean, wrestling-wise, I was at WrestleMania 40 last year, so I saw Cody Rhodes defeat Roman. The Rock came out, Cena came out, The Undertaker was there, so that was awesome. Jeff Hardy winning the WWE Championship probably is the most pivotal wrestling moment that I've seen personally. But any form of media, like, I don't know if I've experienced a more pivotal moment in any form of media. I can't think of like something shocking happening on TV. I mean, probably has like in my lifetime. A more pivotal moment. I don't know if this like counts like in like this is what you're asking for, but one of the craziest moments in a form of media, I remember, so this was I was in 2013. I think it was 2013. I was a freshman in high school, and this is the Boston Marathon Bomber. And obviously it happened, and then there was the whole manhunt after for a few days or however long it was. I remember being at where it was TGI Fridays, I think, with my friends, and this was when the manhunt was still going on and stuff. And I remember at one point, I don't know, there was like games on the TVs or whatever. Every TV like changed to the news coverage of it being announced that they found him essentially. And I remember that entire place just going silent. Everyone was clapping and stuff. It was a really crazy thing to experience. I was clapping too. I'm 14 years old and like didn't really, I don't think fully grasp what was happening. With the bombings and everything that was happening. Can't believe my mom actually let me out to hang out with my friends during that time, knowing my mom. I can't believe that she let me out when they were still looking for the guy. But I do remember that happening, and it was a pretty surreal moment, honestly. Don't know if that's exactly what you're asking for, but that was a crazy form of media that I experienced in my lifetime. So I'd say that. Also, Game 7, LeBron, Cavaliers, and Golden State Warriors. The Cavaliers making 3-1 comeback. I watched that. I watched Game 6 and Game 7 in a Hooters with my friends. Never been a part of like a fucking sporting atmosphere better than that. It was electric. The LeBron chase down block, the Kyrie 3, those memories are branded and cemented in my head. What incredible night Game 7 was. Okay, from Juggernaut, what's your thoughts on Cena turning heel, and will this be the factor that wins him his 17th world title versus Cody? I love John Cena turning heel. I kind of covered it a little bit when the episode started, and we'll talk about it more in depth again for the Stash Club Wrestling podcast that comes out tomorrow. This will 100%. He has to win the 17th championship at WrestleMania. At this point, like, to me, I thought the story was going to be him grinding and building up his confidence to winning the 17th championship, like halfway through his retirement run, even maybe towards the end of the year, not giving it to him right away. But if you turn him into this corporate heel, this bad guy, like, you don't push it off. Give him the belt at WrestleMania. Cody had a good year. I thought Cody would have a longer reign post-Mania, but hey, Cena gets the belt, 17th championship, and you have a heel Cena champion run. That is magic. I'm so hyped for that. If that does happen, should happen. But yeah, I think him turning heel definitely is going to speeds up the process of him winning a world championship this year. Marissa, what moment, segment, character solidified you being a lifetime WWE fan? Character, easy, Jeff Hardy. I think Jeff Hardy. Actually, I don't know if he was like, so what I was going to say is the very first match I saw, I believe it was the Brothers of Destruction, Undertaker and Kane, and it was against a team of either Finlay and Booker T or Mr. Kennedy. It was like two of those three. Maybe MVP was in the mix. It was a main event tag team match at the end of 2006, early 2007. That hooked me. That I was just scrolling through TV, clicking through the channels. I saw that, and I was hooked. That's all it took. And I would say Jeff Hardy is my favorite wrestler of all time, but like Batista, Jeff Hardy 1A, Batista 1B, not too far behind. He hooked me onto loving WWE. John Cena, of course. I'd say John Cena, Batista, and Jeff Hardy were the three biggest influences of me becoming a wrestling fan. Moment, segment, again, probably the first match I ever watched. And maybe like, this is months after I first started watching wrestling, but my mom and stepdad got me, we purchased SummerSlam on pay-per-view. I think it was SummerSlam 2007, Triple H returned. That probably was it for me, my first pay-per-view. That was the stamp. If I wasn't 100% locked in, that probably was what fully got me over the edge. What's your favorite memory of working at Lumberlend that the audience didn't see? That is a great question. I don't talk about Lumberlend a lot or answer, not that I don't answer questions. Like if you guys ask me Lumberlend questions, I would answer them. Maybe I like the idea of doing a video one day of just talking about Lumberlend stuff, reacting to videos maybe. But we're 2.5 years removed from the company basically ending. I don't want to beat a dead horse and like talk about what happened and stuff because it's kind of, I don't want to milk it out and all that stuff. But I do love talking about Lumberlend. Lumberlend was a big part of my life, and it was, pivotal in me being where I am right now. I would not be where I am. I would not be sitting at this desk talking to this camera to you guys when this is posted without Lumberland. And I swear by that. I will always say that. So maybe one day I'll get into Lumberland more, because that's not something I really talk about too much or dive into. But if that's something you guys would like to see, I'd be happy to. But answering this question, what's your favorite memory of working at Lumberland that the audience didn't see? I'll be completely honest with you, just working with everyone. Just the friendships that were built there on and off camera, more so off camera. That's what I miss the most about Lumberland, and what sucked the most about how everything went down. I was in Texas. I was on vacation. The very first vacation I ever took working at Lumberland, I got laid off. My first day of vacation, I was on my way to getting drunk, and I definitely did get drunk after I got laid off. But just working with everyone, and just lunch breaks, us all having lunch together, talking, whether it was talking shit about whatever it may be or just bonding, those are my favorite memories. I don't know if I can pinpoint one, but those memories of just, we all got in at 7 a.m. We all crawled through the front door at 7 a.m. like zombies every single day, and we all walked out at 3 o'clock collectively, and we went through everything together. And that's what made everything so special. But yeah, I'd say my favorite memories of working at Lumberland was working with the people that I did. That's what it was. That made Lumberland so special. That made it as popular as it was on TikTok and YouTube, was the people. There's no going around it. And yeah, that was by far. There was one thing I can say that motivated me to go into the office at 7 a.m. every day. I lived an hour away. I'd get up at 5:30 every single day, get ready, sit in my car for an hour, get there, and then drive home for like an hour and a half, 2 hours someday. If there was one thing I can say that motivated me to get there every single day and to keep to have that job and to drive as much as I did for a year and a half, it was because of the people I worked with, 100%. New Evolution Time asks, if you ever took up professional wrestling full time, who would your dream opponent be? Could be someone active or a retired wrestler in their prime. That's a good question. If I took up professional wrestling full time, that would be quite the sight to see. Speaking of taking up professional wrestling full time, NBA, or not NBA, WWE 2K25 comes up this Friday, and I will be making a wrestler that will be wrestling full time on the game, and that is going to be a weekly series that I'm excited to come out. So keep your eyes peeled. I asked if you guys wanted that, and overwhelmingly you guys were like, yes, fuck yeah, we want that. So I'm excited to make that a series. But in real life, IRL, I probably would pick someone that makes me look good, to be completely honest with you. I'd probably pick like a Bryan Danielson or like a Kenny Omega, Shawn Michaels probably, Jeff Hardy, because he's my childhood favorite, my all-time favorite wrestler. I'd love to trade swantons back and forth. But yeah, I'd probably say like someone that makes me look good. I think, Kenny Omega is the best. Him, Danielson, those guys are the best at doing that. So I'd probably say one of those guys. And then Shawn Michaels too. I wouldn't do like like Jay and Jimmy where it's like a super kickoff at WrestleMania. I wouldn't tarnish the Sweet Chin music like that, but it would be cool stepping in the ring with some vets, some GOAT technical wrestlers like that. Okay, we have a few more questions here that we will get through, and then we will close out this episode. McMahon Pro, after Cena's heel turn, what was the most shocking WWE moment you remember watching live? Golly, crushing Ray's head as a kid had me jaw dropped. Most shocking WWE moment, I had to think about this a little bit. I probably am thinking of things like The Undertaker losing a streak to Brock Lesnar. I mean, that was the most shocking moment in WWE history, arguably. But I also think of like Edge returning at the Royal Rumble, John Cena returning. Maybe Edge returning, because it was just like, you know what? I don't know if it was shocking. I was going to say Hardy Boys returning at WrestleMania 33. I don't know if it's as shocking as it is like just a moment that made me so happy and stuff. But I probably would say Edge returning at the Rumble or The Undertaker losing at WrestleMania. I think probably one of those two, maybe Edge, because I was with my friends in college and stuff like that, and we were just having, we were watching the Rumble and having a great time, and that happened. And none of us, I mean, me being a wrestling fan, like sometimes I'll see reports and rumors online. Don't remember seeing anything for that, so it was a genuinely shocking moment. But honestly, John Cena's heel turn might, I know it's recent and stuff, and I don't want recency bias to get in the way, but I do think that that will go down as the most shocking thing I have personally ever seen in my lifetime on WWE television. Lucy, I apologize if I mispronounced your name, but Lucy asks, how did you and your girl meet? Here we go. This is a good non-wrestling question. How did me and Taylor meet? You guys have seen Taylor on the channel a few times. She is taking part in some WWE quizzes. If you haven't seen those videos, you can check them out. But Taylor is definitely making a name for herself on this channel. Everyone loves seeing her, and I don't blame them. But kind of a little bit more insight to how me and Taylor met. Nothing, this isn't a crazy story, guys, I promise you. We met over Hinge. As simple as that. A dating app that shit never works. I still can't believe that it worked, but here we are, over 2 years later. Never had good luck on any dating apps. I mean, I was in dating apps in like college and shit like that. And even like, I was looking over these questions before, and I was thinking like, yeah, dating apps were, popular in college and stuff. But then I remember like in high school, me and my friends were on it's called Hot or Not. I don't know if you guys recall or used it, but dating apps sucked. I always hated dating apps, thought they were terrible. But it worked out this time with Taylor. But yeah, that's how we met. Met on Hinge, went on our first date a few days later, and then we were seeing each other like every other day, talking all the time, texting all the time, and yeah, here we are, 2 years later. Didn't take long for us to realize that we were meant for each other, and that that it was a forever thing. So that is how me and Taylor met. Nothing too crazy, but I appreciate the question. Last question we have from Rom NYC. If you could relive any wrestling moment, live or televised, and feel the same first-time emotion all over again, what would it be? I'll be honest with you, pretty recent. It was within the last year. I'm gonna say WrestleMania 40. Just the feeling of everything. It was my very first WrestleMania. Being in a crowd of 70,000 people, the biggest WrestleMania of all time, being hyped up as Cody Rhodes ending Roman Reigns' 3.5-year run, The Undertaker showing up, The Rock, John Cena, just not even that match, but everything else. Just the full experience was unlike anything I'll ever experience again. Like, I'll probably go to multiple more WrestleManias in my future, but nothing like the first one. It was such a cool experience, meeting people, fans from Stash Club and whatnot. It was such a surreal weekend, and I would do anything to feel that again. And that feeling of watching Cody Rhodes win, that was unlike anything. And also, like, my soul genuinely leaving my body when The Undertaker's gong hit and all that happened. I don't know if I'll ever have a feeling of going, actually, now that I think about it, like the whole shocking feeling and stuff like that. Any question that was about shock, add The Undertaker returning at WrestleMania 40 onto that list, because him coming out with the gong and standing there in the middle of the ring with The Rock, I lost my mind, because we knew, well, we all speculating it was going to be like an Avengers type thing, Avengers Endgame, Legends coming in, and myself included, a lot of people thought Stone Cold was going to be the one to come out, maybe help out Cody Rhodes, take out The Rock, and it was The Undertaker. Whether it was because Stone Cold he wasn't offered enough money, couldn't be there, whatever, and they had to go with The Undertaker. Whether it was their first option or not, it was a legendary moment, unforgettable moment, and one of the best weekend experiences of my life. But all right, those are the Q&A questions. I appreciate all the comments and questions that you guys left for me, and I'll make sure to do this again next week. If you guys want to put comments, questions below in this video, I will answer those as well. It doesn't have to be, just from the community tab answering questions there. So if you have any questions, put it here, or keep your eye out for the community posts throughout the week, and we'll hopefully get to your comments next week. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. As always, the big episode 14 talking to myself. You can check me out on audio only platforms. If you are here on YouTube and you want to you don't want to see my face. You just want to listen to my beautiful voice. You don't want to see my ugly face. You want to listen to my beautiful voice. Audio only platforms. But if you're going to do that, leave me a 5-star review, 5-star rating. But if you don't want to just listen to my ugly voice, but want to see my beautiful face to kind of, equal out the shitty voice, watch here on YouTube. Watch on YouTube, like, subscribe, turn on those notification bells. So when these videos come out every single Monday and my other videos come out, you'll get to watch them as soon as they get released. I appreciate you all again. Hope you have a great rest of your Monday, great rest of the week. I'll see you all week for videos. Keep your eye out for some good content. WWE 2K coming out this Friday. Hopefully this Friday. I'm shooting for Friday, maybe early Saturday if the whole editing things get fucked up, but hopefully Friday. Keep your eye out for that. All right, see you guys all week. Peace.